Hi guys and girls, and welcome back to Xenus Minis. My name is Greg and this is Xenus's Quick Tips, short videos that focus on specific things within the hobby. Today we're taking a look at the Stay Wet palette, and this is a great piece of kit, especially if you want your paints to last longer, but also if you want the fluidity of your paints to be consistent throughout your entire painting session. So I swear by mine, I use it all the time, and I can't really remember a time where I didn't use it. It just means that the paint is always flowing off my brush, not having to reapply it or thin it down again or add more, and it's not drying up on me mid painting session. So what we're going to do today is I'm going to show you how to set one up. To kick things off, I am using a wet palette, and you can buy one of these from an online shop like Amazon or from your local art supply store. I'm also using a refill pack. This one is Frisk, but you can pick up different brands as well. You can of course make your own wet palette, but in all honesty this was pretty inexpensive, and it also included a refill pack. Under the lid is just a space where you'll place the paper. It's simple in its design, so don't expect anything too fancy. So we've got our refill pack, we've got our container, lastly we're just going to need a jug of water. Next we're opening up the refill pack and we'll need one of each type of paper that's inside. First up is the firmer, more card-like paper, and this is the reservoir or keep wet paper. This paper's job is to soak up all the water and hold the moisture within your palette. The second sheet is called membrane paper, and this is thinner and semi-transparent. You'll place the membrane paper on top of the soaked keep wet paper, and this is where you'll place your paint. You'll be able to see that there's a clear difference between the two, so just remember that the thickest paper goes on the bottom and then the thinnest paper goes on top. Guys, we've got everything ready now, so let's get set up. Firstly, place the keep wet paper into the container. Next, pour in enough water to cover all of the paper. You can get rid of excess water later, so don't be afraid to use quite a bit of water. You'll then need to rock the palette until the keep wet paper is fully covered. As you're rocking the palette, you'll be able to see that the excess water will gather in the corners, so once you've covered all of the paper, you can start to get rid of that excess water. You'll want to drain most of that excess water, but you still want to retain some free-flowing water within the palette. So when you get to around about this point, you can stop removing it. Next, you'll need to place the membrane paper on top of the keep wet paper. As the membrane paper is absorbing some of the moisture below, the ends will start to curl and the paper will start to stretch. You just want to keep flattening out those curls, and don't worry if there's any bumps or ridges in the middle, this is perfectly normal. Once both sheets are on, you are ready to go. So what I'm going to do now is just demonstrate an example of how I set up my wet palette. So I usually start with some medium and I place 3 brushfuls onto the membrane paper. The moisture from a wet palette will keep your paints nice and fluid, but you still want to thin your paints down, albeit not as much as a dry palette. When adding your paint, make sure the pot is well shaken. Use your best judgment when you're applying your medium and your paint. You just need to keep mixing both until you're happy with the quantity and the consistency. Repeat the process with your other paints, but remember that out of the pot, some paints have a different consistency to others, so you may need to add or subtract your thinner as is necessary. It's sometimes better to have all your main colours placed on the palette before you start painting, especially if you're looking to mix your colours as well. I tend to lay mine out from light to dark and in rows of 4. If you're placing your paints next to a shade lighter or darker, then that helps if you're looking to create a mid-tone that's between the 2 colours. By laying your paints out this way, you can pull brushfuls from each colour and create a mix in the middle, and this just leaves your main pools of colour untainted. Guys, that is the end of today's episode. Really hope you've enjoyed. If you have, drop me a like and subscribe. If you've got any questions, let me know in the comments. I will pick them up and perhaps even turn them into a tutorial like this one. But on that note, thank you for watching, take care, and I'll see you next time.